Hey guys, it's Paradise, and today we're going to be talking about Metaphor ReFantazio, a game that has been on our radar for quite a while now. And I want to say a big thank you to Sega and HelloGuillotine for sending us out to play the game a little early so we can bring you guys this kind of hands-on impression that we got to play. And I'm joined by Vestmore and 26 because I know we're all excited for this game. And Vestmore, you're the one that actually got hands-on with it, right?
Yes, indeed.
So tell us a little bit about... Oh, actually, 26, you've done a lot of research into this game previously, so why don't you give us a little rundown of what you know, and then we'll pass to Vest and he can tell us what he played, because he got to play a snippet of the game, I believe, from the start. But give us an overview of what Metaphor is and what we can kind of expect from it.
So first, I need to admit that I've never fully played through a Persona game, and that's what is so exciting about this one. For non-Persona fans, this is the one that you can jump into because it's not tied to the series. Because obviously, Persona 5, I know people saying it's an amazing game, but it's never one that I necessarily played. I know the others have played a bit and dabbled in them as well. But
Sure.
for me, jumping into this one, which is Metaphor, it's a brand new thing that you can jump into. It's all about this election that's basically happened. The king has died. It's left a void, and you're going around collecting new people to gather up to kind of make sure that you can take on that role of being the election, essentially. And it's got a system where you can have different classes, and those are called archetypes. They're very Persona-esque and all of that good stuff, but in a new kind of format. And the music, 10 out of 10, so good. So that's what's really got me excited about jumping into this one.
No, 100%. Very similarly, never really been one to play the kind of Persona games. I have dabbled a little bit with Persona 5. I have mainly played, there's a really old Shin Megami Tensei kind of spin-off for Fire Emblem, basically, called Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Absolutely love that game, but that is about the extent of my experience. So I was kind of coming in with fresh eyes, which I think is really, really useful here, because I have always kind of felt a little bit put off or maybe intimidated about getting into the Persona series, but Metaphor ReFantazio really kind of drew me in as a new person. I didn't feel kind of confused about what was going on. So what I really found interesting about this game as well is the devs were sort of talking about how anxiety was their main theme here. And you can kind of see that throughout a lot of the, the kind of themes and the different sort of story beats. On top of that, there's a really cool cast of supporting characters. Shout out to my boy, he's called Stroll. Stroll is a Don, you guys are gonna love him. I'm not gonna say too much about him, but he is that classic sort of always has your back kind of anime character, you know what I mean? He is your dude, and he kind of when the going gets tough, Stroll's got your back, which I really, really
Who's the lady with the red hair?
The red hair lady. Hey. Oh god, that is a. You know what, T6? That is a great question. That is a great question. You don't see too much of her.
Yeah.
She does happen to be traveling with you at the start, but you do get separated right at the beginning. So yeah, still not too much knowledge on who that is exactly, but yeah. I know that's
nice.
Definitely a fan favorite.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know... So I've played a lot of Shin Megami Tensei 5, which actually came out with its sort of remake remaster recently. It's obviously a turn-based battle system as well. How similar, at least to your knowledge of SMT or Persona, is the actual combat? It's still turn-based? Is it dramatically different? Can you highlight any specific things in the actual combat that stands out? Because turn-based combat can be a bit diversive in that some people really don't like it, some people really do love. I fall in the bracket that really does love it, but I also like when there's new things that are added and puts a spin on it, whether it's QTEs, timed input, certain abilities that have button requirements, like a combo when you execute it. So is there anything going on? What can you talk about the combat and how that's going?
Yeah, no worries. So basically, I kind of had the privilege of having at this kind of preview a lot of people who are diehard fans of Atlus games and stuff like that. So they were very, very excited about the combat, especially. I know one kind of returning feature that was sort of lauded as a huge thing was something called the press turn system, essentially. And what that is any fans will know exactly what I'm talking about, but just to kind of explain it for anyone else, it's essentially a turn-based system where you have a certain amount of turns during like your turn essentially, and that will be determined based on several different factors, like the main one being how many people you have in your party, right? And essentially it adds like a layer of strategy where if you kind of target things like weaknesses, or if you get like critical hits and stuff like that, essentially you can extend your turn from just being, you know, a lot of the time in turn-based, it's your turn, then it's the enemy's turn, and vice versa, right? But utilizing and kind of playing the game well and showing kind of like mastery over the game systems, like hitting those weaknesses and such, will allow you to actually extend your turn and take more turns with your characters, basically.
So they had a similar
yeah.
system to that in like Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Yes, it is from Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. So it's like an amalgamation of different mechanics from the games that people like into this like new title. And like, how much did you get to play? Was it right from the beginning of the game? How long did you how deep did you get in? Did you get to go? Because I believe we've seen there's like a kind of vehicle that you like travel around the world in as you're like recruiting different people, and there's this like time element where I believe there's like, that's like the anxiety thing. I think everything is happening as you're progressing through, so you have to make choices of where to go and who to try and recruit to your cause. Like, how far did you get to go and like deep into the game and explore?
No, of course, like, you know, as you say, we've seen all these kind of amazing things from the trailer. I only got to play 2 hours, and I mean, if you're familiar with Atlus or just kind of
Those
JRPGs
games are long.
you know that is no time whatsoever. So, like, what's it called? But as you say, I did get to play right from the very start. There's a lot of cutscenes, a lot of story. It's very, you know, it's very well crafted. But in terms of like maybe those kind of deeper systems, like the vehicle, traveling around and stuff, we didn't get that far, unfortunately. What we did get to see, though, is we did get to see the first major boss, which was very cool. It was against one of these kind of aforementioned humans. I won't say too much, but essentially what that actually also gave us was a look at the archetype system, which so cool, like absolutely amazing. I again have played like a little bit of Persona. I've also watched other people play like Persona, like my younger sister, and as far as I'm aware, that it's basically Personas, I'm gonna be honest. So you know, it's like a transformation where you get like sort of different elemental attacks to become much more powerful. But it's this really cool kind of like story moment that happens, and we kind of got to see the power of the archetypes, or specifically your character's archetype, which is this like big kind of cool knight-looking guy. And yeah, it was absolutely insane. So really, really excited to see the next archetypes and maybe any more that appear in the future.
Yeah, so do you get them by like taking the boss out? Is there like multiple? I know you've only played the 2 hours, so maybe you don't know, but
no, of course.
Is it like a collect them all kind of thing? Is it a boss kill that gives you like a new? Is like they're like classes, kind of, right?
Yeah, so you know what? That is something that I would say wasn't like too clear from the first 2 hours. Like the only person who had like an archetype, I think we had like 3 party members, including the main character, by the end of the play session. So that was cool, but then only the main character actually had an archetype unlocked, and that only unlocked in this boss fight, basically, which was nearer to the end, unfortunately. So I'm not 100% sure on if it is going to be like Personas, because of course Persona allows you to kind of collect the different monsters and then, you know, personify them, I suppose, is the whole point. But yeah, in this case, with the archetypes, I get the inkling they are a little bit more kind of fixed to the character, as opposed to being sort of like a collectathon, but I'm honestly not too sure.
I know from the videos that I did that there's like over 40 of them, and then you can kind of go deeper into them based on like your own like playstyle and stuff, on like what you're doing and what you want to kind of dive into. So you'll have stuff like more of a tanky one, but if you go more into that tanky one, you can evolve them by using them more and stuff like that. So it definitely gets pretty deep, and depends on like what your characters are and who you've recruited to your party, because I think you get them from recruiting more people and like building bonds and stuff, and that's how you kind of expand out into more of them, which is pretty cool. But something that is super interesting to me about the game, and you said that you didn't get to experience, is that anxiety system where you can only do X amount of missions, because even in the streams, as I was doing those videos, I was talking about how you're going to have to make choices of whether to go to the dungeon like early or go to the town beforehand to kind of build up stuff and kind of do all the side missions there. You could go there early and have more time to do all the things there, but the whole premise of it is like you're going to have to make choices about where the story goes, and kind of, I guess that's going to add to the replayability. And you do have that big running machine thing that's designed by the people from Evangelion in there as well, where you can do kind of the daily life stuff, which is super interesting as well. Did you get to experience a little running mad kind of machine?
No, not during gameplay, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've obviously seen it in the trailers and stuff. It looks really, really cool.
Yeah. Definitely want to like delve into that stuff, but like sometimes after playing Fire Emblem Three Houses, I kind of put off from the daily life stuff. I know people love that stuff, but like it feels like busy work to me sometimes when I jump in and do that stuff. I really want, when I'm playing an RPG, to get the most out of like the story as much as possible, but I guess some people love it because it adds that whole world building kind of aspect of it. Also really delving in there and like, I don't know, they showed him scrubbing the floor, like
it's just like,
what is this?
that doesn't befit a warrior.
Yeah, what I love about these kind of games though is they usually have some kind of, maybe not like relationship, but relationship system where you're building like affinity with your party members and stuff, whether it's talking to them every day in the in-game, timer, or going out and doing a mission that they've asked you to do so that they like you more, and that usually leads to like a variety of buffs or bonuses. So although we're not exactly sure how it all works just yet, I'm gonna guess that the archetype system probably is expanded as you flesh out like your characters and your like main character's relationship to them as the days are passing in the world, and you're getting like stronger through that, maybe unlocking special classes that you might otherwise miss. So there's a lot of replayability in these things, especially if you do miss characters or you don't fully invest enough time with a certain one, so you have that replay value of going back and seeing what their side of the story is in terms of like their like, I don't know, companion storyline or side quest or whatever it is. But no, it sounds like really cool. Was there anything else in the actual gameplay that you wanted to highlight first?
I mean, one thing that we could quickly maybe touch on is what I do like, what Atlus has done is I think they have really catered to newcomers here. Kind of touching back on a quick point that we made where like obviously turn-based can be kind of like it can feel like busy work to some people, it can be like a bit of a slog for some people. There are like systems in the game to kind of alleviate that somewhat. So one thing that I thought was kind of unique for a JRPG was once you are stronger than like a pack of enemies that might be in the world, you can actually battle them real time. There is like a real-time battle system. It's a little like, from what I played, it was a little bit like rudimentary. It wasn't anything like, it wasn't DMC levels or anything like that. But you can just go up to them, and instead of kind of initiating combat, which is not automatic, you have to actually make the choice just for every fight to initiate combat. You can start by just attacking them with your swords and like everything. And yeah, if you're a higher level, you can actually kill them in that way. Usually with on par or more powerful enemies, doing that allows you to stun them and get a leg up in the actual battle itself. But I really liked that Atlus is kind of really trying to sort of cater to everybody and bring new blood.
You have to waste time on like the low-level trash mobs. You just kill them,
exactly.
Which is really cool in a turn-based game. If you look back at old Final Fantasy games, you're running through the map. You get into a fight every like 20
the screen
seconds.
breaks.
You're having to fight them. So I quite like that system. It reminds me of there's certain mechanics in other games where you can also like take out an enemy completely before actually going into an encounter. So that's pretty cool to hear. But yeah, is there any other impressions or things to highlight about Metaphor ReFantazio?
So Chris, you haven't actually spoken about like if you like the game or not. Like, I just want to know like what are you thinking about it? Is it one that you're gonna pick up, or like?
I'm picking that bad boy up. If even just for my boy Stroll, like I'm gonna be honest. Like being serious. Like I think one thing that really put me off kind of with like Persona and stuff is sort of the setting, that the kind of school setting. Much like kind of with like Fire Emblem Three Houses back in the day, if you remember. As much as I love Fire Emblem, I always love the kind of war and the very sort of like kind of fantasy aspects of it. So Metaphor ReFantazio's kind of like backdrop is really appealing to me, and I'm just really happy that I'm going to be able to kind of experience what so many people have like loved with like Persona and stuff in a setting that is maybe a little bit more appealing to me. So yeah, definitely really excited and looking forward to this one, for sure.
Like you were saying, it's like they're trying to make it the best hits of like their games basically, right, and pull
Yeah.
everything from like everything as well, right? This game
That's
looks
right,
super
that's right.
exciting to me, and I'm gonna play this one. If you're saying it's good, then definitely gonna go like try it out. You had a lot of fun. So the 2 hours was like paced well, and it was like
I feel so.
decent.
Like obviously quite story heavy, but there was a decent amount of fights in there, and it kind of like slowly introduces a lot of the mechanics, so you don't feel overwhelmed. It felt very well paced in that way. So yeah.
You know what? I always felt like a fraud because I use Joker in Smash, but now like if an Atlus game has and a new Smash comes out, hopefully they have the protagonist from this in it, and I'll be like, all right, cool. Joker was OP.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you Vest for giving us the rundown on what you got to play for Metaphor. I'm actually really excited for this one. I believe it comes out on October the 11th this year, so it's pretty soon, just around the corner. And again, it seems to be a perfect entry point for people that are maybe intimidated by Persona and want to see what, you know, the Atlus hype is all about, because these are beloved and like massively like fan favorite games for a reason. So these systems all amalgamated is going to be something pretty cool to experience, and obviously we'll be here on the channel to share more when it comes around, so make sure you're locked down below. We will give you guys the updates, but otherwise stay tuned for more videos on your favorite games coming very soon.